Division rivals who lost their season's opener a week ago, the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. Hello again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton, and it was last year here at the Metrodome when the Minnesota Vikings came from behind in dramatic fashion and beat the Chicago Bears, and then went on and won the Central Division title with an 11-5 record. Certainly a terrific first year work as head coach for Dennis Green, who now is looking for his first win this year. Meanwhile, Dave Wannstedt is still looking for his first win as a head coach after losing to the Giants last week. And I guess, Dan Fouts, if I'm a Chicago Bears fan, I'd want to know, how good is my team right now?
Well, I think defensively, with Wannstedt as a head coach and with his front four, they're good enough to keep games close. The problem is on offense, a quarterback position with Harbaugh, but especially the running attack. Neil Anderson will start today, and he'll play a lot.
Last week, the Vikings were embarrassed to a man. They admitted it against the Raiders. In fact, Chris Dolman said this was the worst Viking performance since I've been here, and that includes the quarterback, Jim McMahon, who plays against the Bears for the first time as a starter.
Well, the questions about McMahon have always been, can he stay healthy? He got just plastered last week against the Raiders. The Vikings have to keep that front four of the Bears away from number 9. To sum it up, though, both teams have the same type of problems, establishing some type of running attack and protecting each team's quarterback.
The two coaches, as we get set to go, the Minnesota Vikings will get the ball first, so we'll see Jim McMahon of the two quarterbacks first out of the box. The Chicago Bears have not lost their first 2 games of the season since the very first year Mike Ditka coached the team back in 1982. There is Jim Harbaugh, who'll come out to lead the team. He has borne the brunt of the frustrations of the Chicago press and the fans. Chris Gardocki will be kicking off for the Bears. Kadre Ismail, number 82, the rookie, and Robert Smith. Ismail, the number 2 pick, Smith, the number 1 draft pick for the Vikings. And we're underway. And it'll be a returnable kick, and Ismail at the 2-yard line. And the Syracuse All-America hits a brick wall before he reaches the 20. Robert Green making the stop. So the former Bears quarterback, Jim McMahon, making his first regular season start against Chicago. Everett Lindsey, the rookie left tackle, and the focus will be on that area. Randall McDaniel, maybe the best guard in the league. Adam Schreiber, Scott Adams playing for Todd Kalis, and Tim Irwin make up the offensive line for Minnesota. The veteran Roger Craig and 3 wide receivers, Ismail, Carter, and Carter, Chris and Anthony. Steve Jordan is the tight end. First and 10 from the 18-yard line for McMahon and the Vikings. And his pass is behind Chris Carter. So not a good communication on that first go-around by the Minnesota Vikings. The strength of the Bears defense is up front. Richard Dent, Chris Zorich, who had a fine game against New York, Steve McMichael, and Trace Armstrong, the defensive line. Linebackers are Joe Kane, Dante Jones in the middle, and Vincent Smith, the former Cowboy, is starting for Ron Cox on the outside. Anthony Blaylock, Mark Carrier, Sean Gale, and Donnell Wolford, who was playing with a broken bone in his left hand, make up the secondary. Out of the I formation on second down, the give is to Roger Craig, and he'll get to the 20-yard line in the pickup of 2.
We've seen the Vikings today. They're going to start with their 2 tight ends. Both Jordan and Tice were in that game to start, and I think part of that reason is because they're concerned of protecting McMahon's blind side. Everett Lindsey, the rookie, started last week against the Raiders and was ineffective protecting McMahon. So the Vikings are going to start out with a tight end to that side and try to keep Richard Dent away from number 9.
3rd down and 8. And Ismail goes in motion. They want to get the ball to him at some point, and McMahon is sacked. And it's Steve McMichael, the 14-year veteran, who picks up the first sack for the Chicago Bears. They had 4 against the Giants last week and a loss of 4 yards.
Yeah, this is Ming greeting his old friend Jim McMahon, number 76. It's a stunt between Armstrong and McMichael. And normally the first guy, McMichael, would be taken up by 2 offensive linemen, and you would think that Armstrong would get in for the sack. But McMichael showing real good quickness, picking up a key play on the first 3rd down situation.
Harry Newsom will punt from the 5-yard line. It gets off a beauty. He's leading the NFC. Terry Obie back to the 30-yard line, returning for the Bears, trying to go up the middle, has some room. Obie into Viking territory, and the ball is going to be blown dead at the 42-yard line. So it's still Bears ball and great field position on a 27-yard return by Obi.
One thing the Bears have done well this year is special teams. Special teams coach Dan Abramowitz told me yesterday that he thinks they can return one for a touchdown against Minnesota. That's something he saw in the films in preparation. And this is a wonderful start for the Bears and Abramowitz. Remember last week they blocked a punt for a touchdown against the Giants.
Brent Novoselsky, the former Bear, made the tackle and a first down for Jim Harbaugh and the Bears on the Viking 42. And the give up the middle is to Neil Anderson, who gets to the 40-yard line. Very big game for Neil Anderson, a pickup of 3 yards. Here's the offensive line, and the spotlight will be on the left tackle, Jay Leuenberg, with Mark Bortz, Jerry Fontenot, Verna Smith, and Keith Van Horn. The remainder of the offensive line. Anderson making his first start of the season. Ironhead at fullback. Obi starting at wide receiver because Wendell Davis missed the team playing, so he is not starting. Tom Waddle, the other receiver, and Dante Whitaker, the tight end. There's Chris Dolman, and the Bears will have to be on the lookout for him. 2nd down and 7 on the 39. Harbaugh swings it out to Anderson, and he is met there by 2 defenders, Carl Lee and Audrey McMillan, and a pickup of 2 yards.
Well, similar to what the Vikings want to do, it's protecting that left side against Dolman, and that time they brought a tight end to that side.
Randall, Thomas, and Barker are the other members of a very strong defensive line for Minnesota. Fred Strickland is starting in place of Ed McDaniel. Jack Del Rio, the middle linebacker, and Carlos Jenkins. McMillan, Glenn, Scott, and Lee in the secondary. And Wendell Davis is in the lineup now, number 82 for the Bears on 3rd and 5. Harbaugh has time, and the pass is broken up. And that'll bring up 4th down. Vincey Glenn, who made an interception for the Vikings in the end zone last week on the pass intended for the tight end Ryan Wetnight.
If Glenn doesn't get his hand on this ball, Wetnight's in the end zone because he was behind the secondary, and the Bears waste a fantastic punt return by Terry Obi, go 3 plays, and then punt.
So Gardocki will be kicking just on his side. Eric Guilford, who returned 2 punts last week, just about at midfield, looking to go for the corner. And the ball bounds at the 10 and will be down by the Bears at the 5-yard line. Jay Leuenberg downs it, so once again the Vikings don't have good field position to start. The game that turned both teams' fortunes last year on an audible. Harbaugh's pass intercepted by Todd Scott with a 20-0 lead. In the 4th quarter, the Vikings went on to win 21-20, and Minnesota went 8-4 the rest of the year. The Bears 3-9, and here's how they wound up with Minnesota winning the division and the Bears winning only 5 games.
And a couple weeks later, the Vikings returned 2 Harbaugh interceptions for touchdowns.
Starting from the 5-yard line, 1st and 10. 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers for Minnesota. Roger Craig off the left side. Gets a couple of yards. Chris Zorich in quickly to make the stop and a gain of 2 yards.
According to Denny Green, he told us that Roger Craig will play the first 7 or 8 plays at running back, and then we'll see number 23, Barry Word, come into the game, and they're hoping that Barry Word can be the answer and play about 50% of the time this afternoon.
They want Word to pound the line and set up McMahon's passing, so we'll see him shortly. 2nd down and 8. Ball is at the 7. Again, they give the ball to Craig, and Craig is piled up shy of the 10-yard line. Joe Kane, outside linebacker for the Bears, who came over from the Seattle Seahawks, stops Craig after a gain of 2 yards. Roger feels healthy for the first time in years.
But when he gets tackled now, he doesn't break tackles, and that's why Barry Word was brought over here from Kansas City, a more powerful, bigger back. Roger Craig still is a threat receiving out of the backfield, but does not have the power he once had.
3rd down and 6. Passing down for Jim McMahon. Bears trying to put pressure on, and the swing pass out to Craig. and Craig is stopped. And a fumble, still a loose ball, and let's see whether McMichael has held onto it. McMichael recovers, and the Bears, no official signal given yet. Yes, it is Chicago ball as Steve McMichael recovers a fumble after McMahon was sacked on the opening series by his former teammate.
The first signal is that it's Bear ball. The officials are still conferring, and now our referee for today, Ed Hachuli, makes the call. Craig gets close to the first down, but this is what the Vikings or the Bears do so well on defense. That's the big hit by Donnell Wolford, and then Carrier comes over and causes the fumble, and now McMichael with great hustle beats Tim Irwin to the ball.
Well, let's see what Jim Harbaugh does as you see the Bears recover with even better field position than he had the last time. He'll start from the 27-yard line, and if you're the Bears, you can't ask for two better chances on the first two series of the game. Ironhead Hayward is the one back. He's in the block, and the pass up the middle is caught by Tom Waddle in traffic. And a pickup of 5 yards to about the 23-yard line. So the Bears moving the ball, and Waddle, who last week caught 3 passes and all for first down.
And it seems like when Tom Waddle has a big game, the Bears win. It's just that type of player. And you know for sure that when the Bears are going to throw the ball to Waddle, it'll be over the middle.
Ron Turner told us yesterday, the offensive coordinator, very good on inside patterns. He can catch him in traffic. Second down and 5 on the 22-yard line, and the delay here is Neil Anderson, and he barrels to the 20-yard line. Audrey McMillan making the tackle, and on the phones upstairs is Jim McMahon. Doesn't look too happy right now.
One of the concerns that Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator for the Bears, has is the speed and quickness and experience of this Purple Gang of Minnesota. So to counter that, we're going to see a lot of draw plays from the Bears today. But the added thing that Anderson gives the Bears is speed to the corner.
Third down and 3. And the draw play, you called it. Neil Anderson has the first down, and down to the goal line is tackled at the 1 by Carl Lee. So the strategy of going with the draw play pays off handsomely, and Anderson gets 19 yards on that burst, and it's first and goal Chicago.
He wanted 19 and a half yards, though. You see him talking to the officials. Great block here by Fontenot as he passes off one man, gets on Jenkins, seals him to the outside. And this is so good for Bear fans to see number 35 running free in the secondary without any hint of a limp in that right hamstring.
First and goal, the Bears. And they have stunned this crowd here in the opening quarter. And here's Anderson. And Anderson is stopped short of the goal line on first down. Trying to go off the left side. And it was Fred Strickland who came up from outside linebacker.
You know, the Bears want to pay Anderson off and let him go in for this touchdown after that 19-yard gain. But this would seem to me to be an excellent situation for that Rhino package where they bring in Bob Christian at fullback and big Ironhead put him back at the tailback.
Well, Dave Wanstead has decided to stick with Anderson, although he does have Ironhead as the up-front blocker. A quarterback sneak by Harbaugh. Touchdown for the Bears. The Chicago Bears, and Dave Wanstead looking for his first career victory as a head coach. He has never been a head coach on any level till this year, and it's 6-0 in favor of Chicago. Well, Harbaugh got it done the second time around. And now Kevin Butler holding is Chris Gardocki to try to give the Bears a 7-0 lead. And Butler is perfect, and the Bears taking advantage of the turnover, and Harbaugh leading the Bears, and Neil Anderson on the big 19-yard draw play, sparking the Chicago Bears to an early 7-0 lead over the Vikings.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Mazda. It just feels right. Miller Lite. Great taste, less filling. Can your beer do this? AT&T. We help put your world within reach. And by Levi's loose-fitting jeans, a loose interpretation of the original.
Qadry Ismail returning the kickoff and going out of bounds shy of the 20-yard line as the Vikings will go on offense once again. Philadelphia, Green Bay, no score in the first quarter as Reggie White faces his former team. Same for Gary Clark in the Washington-Phoenix game. The Giants have jumped ahead of Tampa Bay. Buccaneers have never beaten the Giants at Giant Stadium. Saints over the Falcons 7-0 in the first quarter. Vikings with a first down on their 19-yard line. Big sack by the Bears and then a fumble. And the Bears are in front 7-0, and the handoff is to Barry Word. And Word into the ball game, makes his first carry since coming over on trade from Kansas City. And again with Greg Gumbel in New York for an NFL update. Greg?
All right, Dick, and let's take you to Green Bay, where Reggie White has already made his presence felt against his former teammates, the Eagles. That's Reggie chasing down and stripping the ball from quarterback Randall Cunningham. And the Packers recovered and halted an Eagle drive. It's a scoreless first quarter at Lambeau Field, Dick.
So Reggie White already making an impact against the Eagles. Right here, it's 2nd down and 7. McMahon stepping up, flips it out to Word. And Word is short of a first down by a couple of yards, and Donnell Wolford making the tackle.
Barry Word is not known as a pass receiver. He's more of that big, powerful I-back. And one of the reasons the Bears didn't go after Barry Word when he was available from Kansas City is that they didn't feel he was a complete enough player. Didn't block real well and doesn't catch the ball out of the backfield, but McMahon had no hesitation going to him that time.
Word gained over 1,000 yards 3 years ago for the Kansas City Chiefs. 3rd down and 1 on the 28 of the Vikings. McMahon on a rollout, and his pass to Ismail, and it's caught for a first down. And Qadry Ismail, the number 2 draft pick, makes his first reception for the Minnesota Vikings and picks up 5. Sean Gale and Joe Kane knocked him out of bounds.
And the pressure's going to come from the top of the screen, so McMahon is going to roll away. This is good game planning by the Vikings. Needing only 1 yard, McMahon shows his confidence in the rookie rocket, or is it the missile? In the rookie missile, Ismail picks up the first down.
He's had a lot of nicknames throughout his career, including Tank at one time when he was a fullback. First down on the 34. 2 tight ends, and on the draw play, Word trying to test the left side. And Word, with tremendous power at 245 pounds, is knocked out of bounds after a gain of 6. Sean Gale, the strong safety, making the play.
Yeah, Word goes about 245. This is pretty good athletic ability to be able to move all that weight. And see that there's nothing up inside. Still has the speed to bounce it outside as Alonzo Spellman loses contain. And the defensive backs have to come up and make the tackle.
2nd down and 4 on the 40-yard line. Bears lead 7-0 as Vikings have fallen behind quickly for the 2nd straight week. Word is close to first down yardage, and it was Sean Gale. Too many tackles perhaps made by the Bears secondary in this game so far.
Talked to Jack Burns before the game, the offensive coordinator for the Vikings, and the real main asset that Word brings his team is he's an intelligent player. He had to pick up this offense, and Burns likes him on a couple of the toss plays, the belly right up the middle, and the draw play. So that's the type of plays we're going to see from Word today. But it's at the end of the play that's most important. He's strong enough to move the pile and get it close for the first down.
Well, Dan Burns came over from Washington, and Dennis Green trying to establish a Washington Redskins style offense. And Barry Word would fit that category as a big back, and as you see, the Vikings have picked up the first down.
Word was very productive in a similar type of offense in Kansas City, where the tailback is the featured runner, or used to be until Montana got there and they changed that whole thing.
William Perry, the Fridge, is in the lineup now as McMichael has gone out of the lineup as the Bears are going to rotate all of their defensive linemen today. First down, Minnesota on their 44-yard line. And the draw play, Barry Word dives forward. I have to say, in his early showing, Word has delivered exactly what Dennis Green had wanted him to do in a pickup of 4 yards. Vincent Smith on the tackle.
The Vikings want to run it right up the middle when they see the Fridge in the game. Here he is, number 72. And it's a double team trying to move that 320 pounds. That shows you the type of athlete that McDaniel is. He gets the first shot on the Fridge and then can still come off on the linebacker, Jones, and they pick up a nice gain of 4 yards.
Second down and 6. Word has already carried 4 times for 17 yards. Vikings near midfield. McMahon's pass caught and a good catch. Chris Carter, who caught 7 passes in a losing cause against the Raiders, and this is good for 10 yards and a first down in Bear territory.
You got to keep a good pass protection. Watch the left side where Dent is coming against Steve Jordan. That's a heck of a job by a tight end blocking against one of the all-time great pass rushers, Richard Dent. Steve Jordan had a man-for-man that time.
See how the running attack, if successful, can keep people off of McMahon. Vikings moving the ball. First down on the Bear 43. And here again is the draw play to Word. Barry Word powers his way up the middle and picks up nearly 7 yards on that play. Pounding the middle, a gain of 6 that time, and making the tackle was Joe Kane for Chicago.
The big block this time is by right guard Scott Adams. He's going to come out and block on the linebacker as he gets free. But the Vikings are moving a lot more crisply along that offensive line there. Scott Adams is filling in for Todd Kalis, who's demoted for poor play the last 2 or 3 weeks.
New running back is Charles Evans as Word gets a breather. Second down and 4 on the 37, and confusion, and McMahon falls on the ball and is down back on the 45-yard line as Evans and McMahon collided on the handoff.
And you wonder whose fault it was? I think it might be the running back's fault. McMahon will open up, and he's expecting Evans to come right here, and Evans is looking elsewhere. And you know that number 95 is right in the middle of the mix. Heads up play by McMahon, falling on that loose ball.
Well, other than the sack by McMichael, the hardest lick taken by McMahon so far has been by his teammate Charles Evans. Be third down and 11. This is the 10th play of the drive for the Vikings. Looking left, going right. Protection breaks down, and a long pass for Anthony Carter is out of bounds. He was out of the end zone when he went after the ball, and Mark Carrier defending on the play. And a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage, and we may get a roughing the passer call against the Bears.
No question about it. McMahon got tagged after he let that one go. And this is a crucial mistake for Wanstead and his Bears, because this will give Minnesota a first down.
Personal foul, roughing the passer with the use of the helmet. 15-yard penalty, number 93, first down.
It's Trace Armstrong who comes around and lowers his helmet right into the chest of McMahon, and that is roughing the passer. Cannot use your helmet as a weapon when you're hitting a ball carrier or a quarterback, especially a quarterback.
Especially. And we saw it last week when Ricky Waters went into Johnson of the Steelers with his helmet and was thrown out of the game. First down on the 29-yard line. Barry Word back in at backfield for the Vikings. 2:26 remaining in the quarter, and once again the draw play has worked, although this time Word is stopped short after a gain of about 2. Chris Zorich making the tackle for the Bears. Cardinals have jumped up in front of the Redskins 7-0. Cardinals have not won in the last 14 games at RFK Stadium. Detroit leading New England 7-6. And Morton Anderson has broken Butler's record with his 25th consecutive field goal in Atlanta for the New Orleans Saints. Second down and 9 on the 28. Maurice Douglas in as a nickel back for the Bears, and the pass is overthrown to Barry Word, who turned around late.
Well, that's just lack of practice time with working with the quarterback. McMahon saw this entire play develop, and if he's disappointed, because if Word makes this grab, he goes right down the sidelines. The cornerback on that side, Blaylock, followed the wide receiver inside. We'll see this play again, guarantee it.
Third down and 9. Ismail and Carter on the left side, and now Kadri moves to the right. McMahon stepping up, going down, and he's sacked at the 30 by Richard Dent. And a loss of 2 yards. That's the man that the Minnesota Vikings had to eyeball to keep him away from Jim McMahon today, and that's the second sack of the game for the Bears.
Well, this is number 114 in Dent's great career. Coming all the way from the right side of the screen. Again, this time he's working against the tight end, Steve Jordan. You know, you're going to keep me out one time, Jordan, but you're just a tight end. Dent saying, I'm going to get to the quarterback. That was embarrassing for Richard Dent to be held out a couple of plays earlier by the tight end. He paid him off that time.
Quad Reve's field goal attempt is no good, off to the right. So the Bears hang on. Still 7-0. Richard Dent, one of the top pass rushers in the history of football, and that's now, what is it, Dan, 114 sacks.
Yeah, Reggie's up to 125. Not sure how Taylor's doing. Bet he's got one.
Wouldn't be surprised in that game against Tampa Bay. First down on the 30, I formation for the Bears. Neil Anderson gets good yardage up the middle. I'll tell you, Neil Anderson, who did not play in preseason because of that sore right hamstring and only appeared as an outside receiver on some plays last week, has picked up 16 yards. McMillan finally making the stop.
The thing about Anderson is that he's so quick. He still has a quickness to jump through a hole. This is a little draw play again, a quick hitting draw play with the lead block by Ironhead as he clears out Del Rio. Anderson makes Glenn miss, and it's another first down for the Bears.
Anderson already with 40 yards in the waning moments of the first quarter. First down on the 46, and he's going to get the call again. Picks up a couple and close to midfield, and that should be the last play of the first quarter. Fred Strickland. Jim McMahon 4 for 7 for 27 yards. He's been pressured by the Bears. Harbaugh has the touchdown, the only one of the game. The Bears with 43 rushing yards, 42 by Neil Anderson. Second down and 8 on the 48-yard line as we start the second quarter. Dick Stockton and Dan Fouts here at the Metrodome. Harbaugh's pass is caught by Anderson into Viking territory, and that'll bring up third and short. Pick up of 5 yards with the middle linebacker Jack Del Rio on the stop.
You got to think that Neil Anderson has to like this offense because it came with Ron Turner and it also came with Tony Wise, the offensive line coach. A lot of the things the Bears are going to try to do this year, they're going to try to copy the Dallas Cowboys, not only on defense but on offense. Remember, Emmitt Smith ran this offense to a couple of rushing titles.
Bob Christian out of Northwestern is the lone back. Half of the Rhino package in there on 3rd and 3, and Christian carries and is thrown for a loss. Maybe no gain on the play, and a big defensive play by the under tackle John Randall, and a loss of 1 will bring up 4th down, and the Bears will kick.
I guess half a Rhino package isn't too good, Dick, when you don't have the big Rhino in there. They got 4 wide receivers in here. Watch Randall right up the middle here, number 93. They're looking for the draw play this time. They've been burned on it by Anderson a few times, and Christian pays the price.
Chris Gardocki will kick it away. And Eric Guilford back deep for the Vikings. He'll call for the fair catch at the 14-yard line. So the Vikings, who had the ball for nearly 7 minutes last time around, will go on offense once more.
bunch of high school ball players today in the meeting, so I wanted to look like one.
Over the years, how much fun has Jim McMahon been for football? Huh?
I think we need more players like Jim McMahon, but the key to him is that he plays the game hard. He may do some crazy things during the week, obviously, but come Sunday when the game goes off and all that type of thing, number 9 plays his heart out every time.
Did you guys ever finish that Domino's game that we saw in the NFL today?
No. He went into a stall, and we had to call it because of too much time.
First down on the 15 for the Vikings. They had a 13-play drive last time and came up empty on the missed field goal. And the give is to Barry Word, and Word has been true to his word, diving forward and a gain of 6 yards. He has now gained 30 yards on 7 carries. That was Trace Armstrong on the tackle.
But it was Trace Armstrong on the tackle down the field. Word at 245 pounds has enough strength to just get through this arm tackle. Watch Armstrong come from the right side here. He's going to throw his body at Word, but just too strong, and he falls forward for about 6 yards.
Pretty good getting 5 yards at a clip when you run the ball on first down. There's the pitch to Barry Word going off the right side. Nothing much. Good pursuit by the Bears, starting with Armstrong and finished up with Sean Gale, the strong safety. Surprise at RFK Stadium, and the Redskins, Dan, have done very well on games following Monday nights.
You have to feel that they have to have some type of letdown. They were so dominant of the Cowboys just 6 days ago. And remember, the Cardinals, they know all about their troubles at RFK. They were probably very, very focused.
Joe Bugle surely was getting him in that fashion. The Darth Vader look by the quarterback McMahon. 3rd down and 4, and penalty markers are down. And the Vikings may have moved up front.
Looked like Randall McDaniel was starting just a little bit too soon, the left guard.
False start on the offense, number 64. 5-yard penalty. It remains 3rd down.
Ed Hockley indicating it was McDaniel.
McDaniel working against Chris Zorich, who had 2 sacks last week against New York. And that happens a lot when those offensive linemen are in that 2-point stance. Easy to get rocking back, and false start.
3rd down and 9, and the Vikings are back up to their own 16-yard line. Bears are in front 7-0. Early here in the 2nd quarter. McMahon, a jump pass, and it is caught by, see where they drove him back. It was Chris Carter. And the forward progress is marked at the 21, so a gain of 5 yards. Good pass rush by Chris Zorich from the inside.
And the secondary's doing a good job. You see McMahon get back. He wants to throw it when he first gets set, but it seems like every time he's back there, he's got to come to his secondary receiver. That time it was to Carter, way, way short of a 1st down.
Newsom will be kicking for the 2nd time, and Terry Obie, a former Oregon Duck. That is not a long kick, and Obie on the run calls for the fair catch. And the Bears, who have had nothing but outstanding field position throughout this first half, will have it again following that 30-yard kick by Newsom. Bears lead 7-0, and veteran Carl Lee has played against the Bears many times in his career, and he summed up what the rivalry means when we talked to him yesterday.
It's kind of like playing a buddy that you kind of like but you don't like. You've only liked him because you have to see him all the time. And I think that's the way I would describe it.
Have to see him in the offseason and like him then, but there's no like out here today.
You know, of course, of the Jim McMahon's comments about Jim Harbaugh, how he lacks instincts, that he spends too much time with Mike McCaskey, the president and CEO of the Bears, and Harbaugh brushed off those comments.
McMahon said he's not going to send McCaskey a Christmas card this year, of all things.
Don't believe that.
Crossed him off his list.
Curtis Conway, the Bears' #1 draft pick from USC, wide receiver with a lot of speed, is in the lineup now. 1st down on the 48 of Chicago. Out of the eye Harbaugh, looking right and going right for Conway, and the pass is overthrown. He was double covered downfield by Todd Scott and Carl Lee.
Pretty obvious. This is a bad sign, seeing Conway come back to the huddle limping. He's got a bad left ankle. But the first play in the game, the Bears are going to take a shot at him. He gets behind Lee. Ball is overthrown, but look at number 38. Todd Scott come over and take him out. Scott knew that Conway was in the game, and he had an inclination that Harbaugh was going to go deep to him.
Conway, an example of the speed that Dave Wanstead wants to move this club into that direction in every area. 2nd down and 10. And Neil Anderson with another burst gets to the 45-yard line of the Vikings, maybe the 46, and a gain of 6 more yards. They are opening the holes for Neil Anderson. That time Del Rio brought him down.
The guy opening the hole is number 45, Ironhead Hayward. Watch him right in the middle here, and watch his block on Fred Strickland right here. He just caves Strickland in and allows Anderson to go up the field. And you know that Ironhead loved that one.
We are seeing 2 power offenses in this first half with Barry Word and Neil Anderson with the blocking of Hayward. 3rd down and 4. And the Rhino backfield in there, and Harbaugh is going to run for it, and he'll make the first down. And is chased out of bounds by Carlos Jenkins. So we saw the Rhino backfield intact for the first time, and a gain of 8 yards.
That's what Harbaugh does so well, and the asset that he brings this offense is his instincts are more to run with the ball than they are to read the defense, stay in that pocket. You really can't argue with some of the results he's had, though.
First down on the 38, Harbaugh's numbers. Most of the Bears' attack has been on the ground. Anderson with Ironhead blocking in front of him, and Neil Anderson trying to find something off the right side. Stop for a yard gain. Vency Glenn, the tackle for Minnesota.
One thing, one of the key matchups we're going to keep our eye on today is the blocking of Jay Leuenberg against Chris Dolman. Dolman is another one of those number 56s that Leuenberg had to face last week in LT. Not a lot of action on this play, but it gives you an idea of Leuenberg's concern with Dolman's burst to the outside. He's got to make that difficult drop step and get his hands on big number 56.
2nd down and 9 now for the Bears on the Viking 37. 7-0 Chicago. Harbaugh getting the rush, and the pass is out to Ironhead. He makes the catch. Got up and maybe got another yard or so. Will be short of the first down by a couple. Todd Scott making sure Ironhead didn't get any more yardage.
Real good job by Harbaugh reading the blitz this time and finding where Hayward, his hot receiver, was. Watch the pressure come up the middle as the both Strickland and Del Rio, and actually even Jenkins, all 3 linebackers were coming at the quarterback. That means somebody's got to be open. That time it was Hayward. Good job by Harbaugh finding him.
3rd down and 3 on the 31-yard line. 4 wide receivers line up now for the Bears. Pressure on Harbaugh, and he's not going to get away as the whistle blows. It was Dolman underneath and Thomas on top. A double-barreled sack and a loss of 4 yards, and it'll be 4th down and Butler coming on.
Like John Randall was in there too. You know, they split these sacks in half. That time, you know, you might want to take the pie and cut it in thirds, because all 3 of those guys had a piece of number 4.
They almost divided Harbaugh into thirds that time.
In pregame warmups, Butler hit field goals from 54 yards away. This one will come from 53.
Gardocki to hold. And the kick is close, and it hits the crossbar and bounces down. He hit the bar, as you mentioned, but he got the bounce in practice. But in the game, Butler misses, and the score remains 7-0 Bears.
In pregame warmups, Butler hit the upright, or the crossbar, just like this from 54. But the ball bounced through. He says, I'm going to have a big day. Well, he may want to rethink his thinking.
At RFK Stadium, not only are the Phoenix Cardinals leading the Redskins 10-0, but Mark Rippon was carried off the field with a leg injury. and he has been replaced. Stretched ligaments in the right knee is the report we've just received. He will not return. Kerry Conklin and Rich Gannon, the former Viking quarterback, are his replacements. 1st and 10 for the Vikings on their 36-yard line. This is their best starting field position so far. And the pass over the middle is dropped. Barry Word, the receiver again, and it'll be 2nd down.
Last week against the Giants, the Bears secondary was pretty pitiful as far as their coverage and how they handled routes that were over the middle. The Vikings felt coming into this game that they could take advantage of that, try to hit the tight end in the seams and also the check down to the backs. Bears have tightened up their secondary.
There's McMichael, who has one of the 2 sacks for the Bears so far today. 2nd down and 10 on the 36 with 8:05 remaining in the first half. McMahon taking a deep drop. Barry Word on the screen pass and gets up beyond the 40-yard line, is short of the first down by a couple of yards. Sean Gale making the tackle.
They see Barry Word give a little high five or a slap the hands with Scott Adams. Scott Adams did a great job of getting out in front of this one and laying a beautiful block. Here he is, the right guard. He lets McMichael go to the inside, and now he and Schreiber out in front of Word on this screen. Schreiber gets a nice block on Jones, and on the outside it's Adams with a KO shot.
3rd down and 2 coming up, and the Vikings are going to call timeout. That is the first timeout of the game. They have 2 left. Bears in front, 7-0. And the Viking offensive line, some big changes up front with the loss of Gary Zimmerman and Brian Habib to the Broncos and Kurt Loudermilk to Indianapolis.
And then you add that Scott Adams is replacing Todd Kalis at right guard. So chemistry is so much a part of this offensive line because an offensive line is a team within a team.
3rd down and 2 at the 44-yard line. Vikings still not on the board. McMahon's pitch is tipped and caught by Carter, and he's got a first down. His pass was tipped at the line, and it was Steve McMichael who got a hand on it, but Carter alertly came back in a gain of 6.
72 is Adams. Watch as he'll pick up this stunt between McMichael and Zorich. Nice job there, and McMichael did get his left hand on this pass, but McMahon had enough smoke on it to get it to Carter, and the Vikings pick up a first down.
And they're at midfield with under 7 minutes to go in the first half, trailing the Bears 7-0. Here is Barry Word, gets an opening off the left side. Very tough to bring down. Barry Word, who now has rushed for 36 yards on 9 carries. Mark Carrier and Dante Jones, the middle linebacker.
Yeah, Jones finally made the tackle after Word. Again, he's got about a 50-pound advantage here on little Mark Carrier. Watch the shot right here, and he just KOs him. First thing that hit on Carrier was his name on the back of his jersey.
Word has also caught 2 passes, and of course his reputation, as you mentioned, not as a receiver. So he has helped the Vikings in that dimension as well. 2nd down and 4. And here is Barry Word. This time gets 1. And right now we're going to check in on Mark Rippon's condition. Let's send you to Greg Gumbel in our New York studio.
All right, Dick, you were talking about it. Here's how it looked. Rippon on the run. Phoenix's Eric Swan takes him down. The ligament damage to his right knee. We don't know how severe it is yet. We do know that Rippon will not return. Kerry Conklin quarterbacking the Redskins, who are down 10 in the 2nd quarter.
For the Redskins.
That's a big defensive line for the Cardinals, and Swan is already making his presence felt. Bugle felt that he was ready to step his game up. Certainly has made an impact there.
Charles Evans is in the game at running back. Last time he was in, he collided with McMahon. This time McMahon being chased by Dent from behind. The pass caught by Carter, but a penalty marker down. That's Chris Carter. And if the flag is against Chicago, that'll be a Viking first down as Sean Gale making the tackle. And Dent very nearly got to Jim McMahon. And it's defensive holding against the Bears, so it will be a first down in any event for Minnesota.
But the concern that Denny Green must have on his sideline is the lick that McMahon took from Richard Dent. Dent came all the way around, and Jimbo just must have felt him. coming or heard him coming, because he got rid of it just in time.
Holding on the defense, number 93. The penalty is declined. First down.
Armstrong may have got called for the penalty, but the impact on this play is number 95. So he gets it right around Lindsey. McMahon drifts away from him. You got to wonder about quarterbacks hitting their shoulders on the ground, especially on artificial surface.
3 wide receivers in the game on first down. On the Bear 38-yard line. McMahon with a short drop and the pass caught by Anthony Carter. And he gets it to the 30-yard line. A gain of 8. Donnell Wolford making the tackle. Anthony Carter in his 9th year on his first catch of the game.
McMahon was sacked 3 times last week against the Raiders. Been sacked twice already this afternoon. So Denny Green and his offensive staff, Jack Burns, are going to go to shorter passes. That time a nice 8-yard gain on just a 3-step drop to Anthony Carter.
Bears defensive backs have already made 11 tackles today. This is the 8th play upcoming, 2nd down and 2. And here is Barry Word back in the lineup, fighting for the first down yardage. And the Bears trying to close it off inside with the Fridge, among other people.
Tremendous desire and effort by Word. Looked like the Fridge had him cold, if you will. He spun away, got close to the first down mark.
That's a chill for Mr. Word, who, by the way, was originally drafted by the Saints.
Watch the Fridge, 72. Good penetration, destroys the trap block. Jones comes up as well, and they've got him stopped right there. But the strength of Word is close enough to bring up just 3rd and inches.
So it'll be 3rd and less than 1. And 3 tight ends in the game for the Vikings. And Randall McDaniel is the blocking back up front for Barry Word. He's got the first down and more inside the 25. Imagine having Randall McDaniel blocking in front of the power-hitting Barry Word and a gain of 7 yards and a first down.
And in talking to John Michaels, offensive line coach, yesterday about the use of McDaniel in the fullback position here, he says it's just a matter of butting heads when you get in these short yardage and goal line situations. And our best head butter is Randall McDaniel. He can clear things out.
One of the best guards, if not the best guard in the National Football League.
Probably the best athlete playing guard in the NFL.
What they say in a race yesterday, he beat Craig and a few others. Here is Evans. 2nd-year running back going off the right side as Barry Word gets a breather, and Richard Dent making the tackle after a gain of 5 yards.
You saw that McDaniel was standing on the sidelines for that play. When you go from an offensive line position to a receiver or running back position, you cannot immediately go back to that offensive line position. You have to sit out one play. Kalis came in at right guard for McDaniel, for Adams. Adams moved over to left guard. Now they're back to their starting lineup.
2 tight ends with Tice and Jordan in there on 2nd and 5. The ball is at the 17 of Chicago. On the draw play, there's Evans, and a penalty marker down in the Minnesota backfield as Evans had nothing up front, tried to cut his way and picked up 4 yards, but Ed Hockley will explain the flag, which appears to go against the Vikings, as Kane and Cox made the tackle on Evans.
Thought it was Hachuli. Gesundheit.
Some
Thank
people
you.
have called him that, I'm sure.
Look at this score now. 17-0 Phoenix on Washington.
Holding on the offense, number 61. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
It's Everett Lindsey for the hold. But you talk about a quarterback, a starting quarterback going out of a game. His team's chances of winning that game drop to just about nil. I don't care who your backup quarterback is. Such a shock to the entire system to lose your starting quarterback. I think we're seeing that in that Phoenix-Washington game.
2nd down and 15 now after the penalty to Everett Lindsey. We have 2 minutes to go on the clock. No whistle yet for the 2-minute warning. Rolling out is McMahon, and his pass is caught. And a reception out of bounds by Anthony Carter, and inside the 20-yard line and a gain of 10. And now we'll have our 2-minute warning down on the field. We'll return with the Vikings driving and the Bears leading
started out, I just wanted to cut a little bit shorter on the sides. And the first time I went like this with the scissors, I took too much off. And then I tried to make it evened out, and I ruined the whole thing, so I let Willie trim it up for me a little bit.
Willie got?
Willie did it, yeah. That was probably the dumbest thing I've did to myself.
That was Willie's last appearance as a barber.
Yeah, that's saying a lot. The dumbest thing he did to himself was a haircut. It's got to be tough for these Viking fans, though, rooting for Jim McMahon, the guy that they've loved to hate for so many years. Now they got to learn to love him. Well, they'll love him if he can put this one in the end zone.
Dave Wannstedt talking with the officials. We've had our 2-minute warning with 1:56 to go. The Bears have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. The Vikings have 2. Minnesota's drive started from their own 36-yard line. They've had 12 plays in this one. Want to remind you that coming up next will be the men's final of the U.S. Open. Pete Sampras against Cedric Pioline, the number 15 seed. That's coming up next here on CBS Sports.
I'll take Sampras in straight sets.
Oh, thank
okay?
you.
All right.
Thank you.
I like that 126-mile-an-hour fastball he serves up.
Vikings are 3 for 3 in third down attempts on this drive. They've got a 3rd and 5 now, and McMahon drills the ball toward the sideline, and it's caught by Anthony Carter, and he makes the reception, and it's another first down for Minnesota. AC has been the target man for Jim McMahon, and a gain of 6.
Nobody makes this play better in all of football than Anthony Carter, and I'm including Jerry Rice and everybody else. Watch the footwork. First of all, he makes the catch, but he extends his toes all the way to the ground. Beautiful play, Anthony Carter.
3rd catch of the ball game, and it is now first down. Barry Word back in the game and running back. 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. McMahon again to throw, and he gets it out to Barry Word, who's driven out of bounds. Since when did Barry Word become an effective pass receiver out of the backfield?
This is the same play that they misconnected on in the first quarter. This time McMahon took a little bit more time, was a little bit more deliberate with his throw. Made it a very easy ball for Word to catch, and he picked up 7 yards.
He has caught 3 of Jim McMahon's tosses for 21 yards to go along with his outstanding rushing. 2nd down and 3. The Vikings can get a first down without scoring on this drive. And here's Barry Word. He's got a little hole, and a flag is down as Word is stopped at about the 2-yard line.
You got to figure this is holding against Minnesota.
Kane and Jones, and it is holding against the Vikings. They're getting close, but that penalty is going to hurt them right here.
You talk about a key penalty. They're just yards away from the end zone. 2 or 3. Now they're going to be backed up.
Holding
10 more.
on the offense, number 72. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Number 72 is Scott Adams. He's working against Steve McMichael. Left side of the screen here. And that's a terrible call. He had his arms on McMichael's shoulder, but was muscling him and stalemated him at the line of scrimmage. I hate that call.
The Vikings have amassed 130 yards of offense so far in this half, but no points to show for it. 2nd down and 13. McMahon looking left, and Barry Word can't hold on to it. It was a low pass from McMahon, but he had a bunch of blockers in case he would have caught the ball. That'll stop the clock with 1:37 remaining.
The timing just hasn't been worked out between McMahon and Word, and who can really blame them? They haven't been together that long. But what Jim saw on that play, though, is that that screen pass did not fool the front 4 of the Bears. They were out there with the offensive linemen of the Vikings. I think McMahon might have just thrown that ball away.
3rd down and 13. McMahon had completed 6 straight passes before that incompletion. And the Vikings are going to use up their 2nd timeout, so they'll have 1 left when we come back to the Metrodome.
Vikings have converted 4 third down situations. This one, though, will be their toughest. a small field to work with. And look for Jordan or Chris Carter on this play, but the Bear defense will key it for McMahon, and especially the safeties. Who do they double on? They got 6 defensive backs in the game, along with Jim Morrissey, who will be hooked up with Barry Word.
Bears call this their quarter package. 3rd down and 13. A lot of yards, but no points for the Vikings. Ball is at the 14. And they give it to Barry Word up the middle, and Word gets to inside the 5-yard line. Not enough for the first down. They almost made it, but that's an almost. A gain of 10. Marcus Paul and then Mark Carrier, 2 of the 6 defensive backs.
That was a surprising call. The Bears showed blitz, and they came with the blitz. Perhaps McMahon read it and went to the audible. Word came up just about 2 yards shy.
So Fuad Reveiz will try to give Minnesota their first points of the game with 1:08 remaining in the first half. He missed his 1 field goal attempt last week from 47 yards. This will be a 23-yarder. He has missed a 47-yard earlier in this game. And Reveiz's kick is good. So it's 14 or 7-3 now in favor of the Chicago Bears in a close game in which a lot of ball control, which is emblematic of NFC Central Division play.
And the one thing that the Bears have been able to do is they've taken this crowd out of the game. This is normally one of the loudest places in the NFL with this dome and everything, but the crowd has not been a factor yet.
And in fact, some of the Vikings were talking about why the fans don't come out and support them a little better and a little noisier like they do in some other stadiums.
You know, it's almost like when you come into this stadium that as a player you look up and you see this dome, and all of a sudden it gets a little bit brighter and the sun shines out, you know, but you can't see it. You can feel it. It changes a little bit in here. And I've actually seen people in the stands here moan and groan that they wish that they didn't have this tarp over the top of the stadium, that they could be outside. But of course, that's always now in September.
And of course, at the Metropolitan Stadium where they used to play, it used to have nothing but ice and rain and mud in that stadium, and Bud Grant loved every minute of it.
I remember playing in the summer in the old stadium and having the aroma from the barbecues drift over the stadium. A wonderful feeling.
Well, this is an all-purpose stadium, of course. The Twins play here as well, and we have a sellout. Some 15,000 to 18,000 fans may have come from Chicago, so they're not all purple and gold supporters here, as the Vikings, they haven't lost the first 2 games of the season since 1984, when Les Steckel coached them for just 1 year. So Reveiz will be kicking off. Back deep, Terry Obi is the deep man. And Obi almost broke a tackle and brings it out to about the 30 with 46 seconds remaining in the first half. Coming up on the NFL Today halftime report, Greg and Terry will have all the scores and highlights, plus Tim Ryan will preview this afternoon's U.S. Open men's tennis final between Cedric Pioline and Pete Sampras, all coming up at halftime. Bears have all 3 timeouts remaining.
But only 46 seconds to work with. But remember, last week Harbaugh was very effective moving the Bears in this hurry-up offense against the Giants.
Harbaugh getting pressure, and down he goes inside the 20. That was Roy Barker, second-year defensive lineman from the University of North Carolina, and the second sack of the game for Minnesota. Hurry-up offense, a loss of 11 yards on that play. Harbaugh again with pressure, and the pass is complete to Wet Knight, the tight end, and he's out of bounds at the 27-yard line. Audrey McMillan on the stop, and it stops the clock with 26 seconds remaining.
This is absolutely the worst type of situation to get into against this team. The Vikings have an outstanding pass rush. That time they got the sack from Barker, who's replacing Al Noga. Barker today should play about 2/3 of the game. He'll alternate with Robert Harris, but when you make a sack, it's hard for the coach to take you out of the game sometimes.
So play 3 quarters.
Yeah.
3rd down and 12. Harbaugh to throw, and now he'll run for it. He's got 2 men to beat, and he will not get the 1st down, but at least he'll get out of real danger. And it'll be after a pickup of 11 yards.
Real good use of the timeout. That's Minnesota calling this one. That leaves them with 0, but they do have a chance of getting the ball back now if the Bears decide to punt, and they're going to send the punting unit out. Clock will stop after change of possession, so you never know. They might try to block this one and set up the offense deep in Bear territory. But that's a good use of that timeout. No sense going to the locker room with it in your hip pocket.
Gardocki will kick. It was interesting that Harbaugh was trying to throw the ball on the first 2 downs with not much time remaining, and that's where, as you mentioned, you can get an interception and really change the tempo of this game. Eric Guilford is back deep for the Vikings. Gardocki gets off a high kick. Guilford with the fair catch on the 27-yard line as the Bears try to draw the Vikings offside by taking as much time before the snap. Well, Neil Anderson and Barry Word have really impressed as running backs in this game. Anderson starting his first game, and Word also for the Vikings.
Not only is he doing it on the ground, but he has tied a personal best for himself. 3 receptions in the first half. Didn't expect him to be a factor in the passing game, but when you're going to a 3-step drop and trying to get the ball, rid of the ball in a hurry, as McMahon has done a couple of times, very often your running backs will be your primary receivers.
Roger Craig started the game, and Barry Word came in a hurry. 1st and 10 on the 28-yard line, 9 seconds remaining. And they'll give the ball to Barry Word, and that should take care of things in the first half. The Bears converted Roger Craig's fumble for the only touchdown of the game. Coming up, Greg and Terry, scores and highlights, and a preview of the men's final in the U.S. Open tennis championships coming up. So that is the end of the first half here at the Metrodome with the score, the Bears 7 and the Vikings 3. Time, the Chicago Bears taking advantage of a Viking turnover and scoring a touchdown by Neil Anderson, or Harbaugh getting the score, leading by a score of 7-3. And Dan, already this is a better Sunday than it was for Jim McMahon a week ago when the Raiders were all over him and he had a disastrous game.
His offensive line is doing a good job, but also Barry Word is contributing. But the Vikings still only have 3 points. That holding penalty at the 1-yard line really hurt the Vikings.
Vikings, of course, really held the ball for some 9 more minutes more than the Chicago Bears, and they have 3 points to show for it. But in this kind of a divisional game, being down only 7-3 is not obviously the end of the world for them.
Yeah, I think that both teams have to be feeling pretty good about themselves. The big thing that I like to see is that McMahon is moving the ball club this week, where he couldn't do it last week because of the pass protection.
Well, Jim McMahon, of course, was acquired, and you know, and this year to perhaps be the missing link for the Minnesota Vikings. And it's interesting when we took a walk through his locker room yesterday.
Yeah, you know, most quarterbacks will dress next to the other quarterbacks. Here you've got Brad Johnson, there's Salisbury, there's Torretta, here's even a punter here, but there's no McMahon. Well, where do you find McMahon? Naturally, he's over with the big guys. His buddies up front. Here you see McMahon right there. There's McDaniel. There's Adams over there. There's another big guy. So McMahon likes to dress where his protection is.
And, of course, it's all about leadership. And McMahon's been a leader throughout his career. And when you talked with him yesterday during your Domino's game, he addressed that subject.
I think just doing your job and knowing what to do in certain situations. You know, Richie had a saying last year that was very, very true. He said, knowledge is confidence. And if you know what you're doing, you know, people can sense that. And I think a lot of times that they felt that I knew what the hell I was doing out there. Give me 4 more.
And you gave him 4 more. Pretty good record against the NFC Central, huh?
Well, that whole domino game yesterday, I was trying to build up his confidence so that he would play better in this first half. And he's always played well against the NFC Central.
And he's going to come out in the second half. The Chicago Bears will get their chance first. So Jimmy Mack trying to even the Vikings season record at 1-1. Pretty impressive numbers, though, for the first half, percentage-wise, at least.
But it's really up to this Viking defense to set the tempo to start this second half. The Bears have played well. Neil Anderson has played well in that first half. But the Vikings defense is what really sets the tempo, especially that pass rush. They've gotten to Harbaugh a couple times in the first half, but haven't really pressured him all that much.
There you look at the rushing leaders, and fine games for Neil Anderson, making his first start this year. And a lot of people were wondering what kind of Neil Anderson the Bears would see. Well, 8 rushes for 49 yards, including the touchdown in the game. And Barry Word in his first outing did not start. Roger Craig did, but Word came on and looks like he's going to be around a long time in the backfield for Dennis Green. Reves will kick off for Minnesota. Terry Obie back deep for the Chicago Bears. Obie fields it on the goal line and returning it. And Obie brings it out to the 24-yard line. Tackle made by Rod Carpenter. Halftime statistics. Rushing yardage pretty even, but Minnesota with an edge in the passing.
Well, the big edge here also, Dick, is time of possession. Look at only 11 yards here for the Bears throwing the ball.
Well, they're going to have a chance. They had great field position for most of the first half. Let's see what Harbaugh does here. Looking at his numbers, 5 for 7 for 26 yards as he begins from the 23. And throwing on the first down, throwing deep, tipped away by Carl Lee on that pass intended for Tom Waddle.
And Lee is still down. Let's see how he gets hurt here. He has just perfect blanket coverage. Knows his help is from the inside and Todd Scott. That's why Lee let Waddle go to the inside. But Carl Lee landed on his right shoulder. And he might have a problem with that right shoulder. Good teamwork, though, between corner and safety. Lee let Waddle go to the inside, knowing that Scott could come over and give him some help.
Still working on Carl Lee. The Vikings have Izell Jenkins, the former Philadelphia Eagle, as a possible backup. There's Anthony Parker, who's a cornerback, who is in the game right now for Minnesota, and they're still working on Lee just 13 seconds into this third quarter.
He really came down hard on his right shoulder, but this is a good sign, seeing him get up off that turf and go to the bench.
Carl Lee on the sidelines trying to get the cobwebs out, and it looks as if he's going to get back in a hurry.
Well, we've read his lips during the halftime. He says he's okay, but I think what he did is, Dick, he got his bell rung right there. He came right down on the side of his head and might have knocked himself out momentarily.
So Anthony Parker is replacing him at cornerback. Second down and 10 for the Bears on their 23. On the draw play, Neil Anderson. Up the middle to the 27-yard line. Jack Del Rio and Todd Scott on the play.
And you see the Bears haven't changed their offensive game plan any. It's a draw play to Anderson that picks up about 4 yards. You got to do that when you're facing a team that has so much quickness and athletic ability along the defensive line.
Curtis Conway, the #1 draft pick who limped off, has a twisted ankle, but he could get back for the Bears. Third down and 6. Quick drop, and the pass is incomplete. It was intended for Terry Obie on the slant in, and it was broken up by Audrey McMillan, so it'll be 4th down, and Gardocki will come in and kick it away.
Talking about the Vikings setting the tempo, you can't ask any more for from your defense than limiting the opponent to just 3 plays and a punt.
Eric Guilford will be back deep, and Gardocki will kick. The Vikings, who had a tremendous time of possession advantage at halftime, but managed only a field goal. In the waiting, another good high kick by Gardocki, and Guilford is going to try and run this one back. And he is stopped practically in his tracks by Robert Green.
Yeah, sometimes it's not easy being a referee in this game. Watch the shot our man in the striped shirt takes here. He's got two guys. He let Christian go by, and then Leuenberg is going to just drop him. That is Dick Creed, our side judge, and hope he's all right. It's a big man running you down.
He thought he was safe when Christian went by. First down on the 28, Jim McMahon. And the long hair of Steve McMichael has one of the 2 sacks by the Bears. Steve has 2 so far. McMahon is dumped again. That's the 3rd time. And Chris Zorich, who had 2 sacks last week against Phil Simms, comes in up the middle and a loss of 6 yards.
Here's Zorich, 97, but watch McMahon. He wanted to throw the quick screen out to his wide receiver right there, and now he has no place to go. His lineman had already left to get out and form that screen, and it was a good job by Donnell Wolford coming up, and that's why McMahon got plastered on that one.
3rd sack by Chicago, 2nd down and 15. Vikings have not beaten the Bears 3 times in a row since 1981. And it's a tough chore today. Barry Word getting the hole off the right side, and he brings it out to the 35-yard line for a pickup of 12 more yards. Mark Carrier and Vincent Smith, and Word says, I got to come out for one play because I only have one shoe on.
That right side of the Viking line's doing a nice job. Both Adams and Irwin, and then you send your big tight end in there, Jordan, showing his versatility as he takes on the linebacker Joe Kane, and it's a nice long gain for Barry Word, longest of the day.
He was obtained for a 5th-round draft pick, and already it looks like a steal for the Vikings. 3rd down and 3, and here is Evans, and
well, that's 2 mix-ups in the backfield now between McMahon and Evans.
what does that tell you?
That tells me that Evans isn't quite sure of his assignments. Trying to explain it as McMahon is going, well, you got to give me some help there. There aren't any blockers for me. They're all looking for you on the outside.
Fortunately for the Vikings, both of those collisions with Evans did not result in fumbles. So it's 4th down. Harry Newsome in to kick again. Terry Obibo goes back deep for Chicago. And the Bears were storming in. They looked like they wanted a piece of that. Obi inside his 10. Called for the fair catch. Good punt. A great punt by Newsome. Dan, Dave Wanstead's made a lot of changes, but he isn't solely looking to the future right now.
Now, what he's looking to do is to reward his team for all the hard work that they have done in the offseason when he first got the job, the long, hard training camp in Wisconsin. You got to reward that team, and you got to get them somehow in the win column.
Carl Lee is back in the lineup for the Vikings at cornerback. Worst field position for the Bears. 1st down from the 10-yard line, and Craig Hayward goes nowhere. And now the crowd heard for the first time early today, and the defense coming on in.
You got to be a good tackler. I mean, you got to stay low, too. Barker goes high and meets Hayward right in the head, but Del Rio is down low. It takes 2 men to bring down a 300-pound fullback.
Still 10 yards to go, but it's 2nd down for Jim Harbaugh. Gets rid of it in a hurry, and the dive by Todd Scott, and very nearly picked off another pass. A year ago, he intercepted a Harbaugh pass, ran it in to start the Vikings' big comeback against the Bears here at the Metrodome.
Now, that's a sure way of switching momentum by throwing an interception deep in your own end. Harbaugh has thrown 3 interceptions in the last 2 games against Minnesota, and 3 of them were returned for touchdowns. Scott had a lot of green fake grass in front of him if he could have caught that one. Good pressure by Strickland. He came in unblocked on the quarterback.
That's a nightmare that Harbaugh doesn't want to relive. 3rd down and 10. Crowd a factor for the first time, and the give is to Anderson, and he's tripped up at the 12-yard line. It'll be 4th and long after the gain of 2, and Jack Del Rio, who had 11 solo tackles last week against the Raiders, in on the play.
I think it's safe to say that the defense of the Vikings has established the tempo for the second half. The Bears have had the ball on offense 2 possessions. They've run 6 plays, and now this will be their second punt.
Ardaki with another boomer, and Guilford coming down for the reception, and Guilford dives into Bears territory, so good field position with the great defense by the Vikings. Vincent Smith on the tackle. Vikings with great field position, trailing 7-3. Let's check other scores involving NFC Central. Green Bay leading 17-7. 2 touchdown passes by Brett Favre. Giants leading Tampa Bay 20-7 in the third quarter at Giant Stadium, and the Patriots still lead the Lions 9-7 in the third. On the 49 of the Bears, best starting position for the Vikings, and Barry Word, like a truck, tough to bring down, picks up 3 yards. McMichael on the tackle.
I think Word has really been a pleasant surprise for the Vikings. I'm a little surprised that he's been as effective as he's been. This is a real tribute to him and his intelligence, that he's been able to come in and pick up the offense, the mental side of it, but it's the physical side where he's getting hit and falling forward and making that extra yard that's so impressive.
2nd down and 7, the ball at the 46 of the Bears. Chris Carter nearly got by the defender on the play. Donnell Wolford, instead he gets 4 yards, but a couple of yards away from the markers. Vikings have scored only 10 points in their 2 games this year.
This is an audible by McMahon to Carter. Remember, Donnell Wolford is playing with a broken right hand. He has a small cast on his hand, and look how close Carter comes to breaking this one and going all the way. Vikings want to test Wolford's ability to make a tackle.
There's Wolford. You can see the right hand. 3rd down and 3 for McMahon, and here's Barry Word. Dives to the 40, and he is close to the 1st down. We may have a measurement.
Well, we're going to have a decision if he is short, and I think that Denny Green has to go for this one on 4th and inches. Word looks like he might have hurt his arm or his left hand.
We have not seen Roger Craig since the first 7 plays or so of the game, and Word looks like he is hurting, and he's going to come out of the ball game.
That'll make a decision real easy. Word comes out. There's no way they're going to go for the 1st down. Watch his left hand. It looks like he's going to have it underneath the pile. And is it Zorge? No, it's like Sean Gale coming in and may have just stung that left hand.
They are short by about a foot, maybe less, and it's 4th down, and let's see Dennis Green's decision.
Yeah, remember, he's going to go for it. Remember, he's got the big fullback in Randall McDaniel. Bring in a couple extra tight ends.
Charles Evans, the running back, and there's been nothing but confusion times that Evans has been in the lineup. But here he is, Evans with Randall McDaniel, the up back, 4th and 1 on the Bear 40. Jordan in motion, and Evans has the 1st down. Dives to the 38-yard line, Carrier on the tackle.
What a tremendous weapon Randall McDaniel is. I mean, how many times do you ever say that? But watch him, number 64, leading Evans over that right side. The 2 tight ends do a nice job too, Tice and Jordan. But you get in behind number 64 and you're going to pick up all kinds of yards.
And it's not out of the realm of possibility that we'll see Randall McDaniel carry the ball before this season's out. 1st down on the 38-yard line. McMahon's pass intended for Anthony Carter. He had a defender, Maurice Douglas, on his heels. That'll bring up 2nd down.
One of the problems the Bears had last week at home on defense were these signals between safety Mark Carrier and the cornerbacks Blaylock and Wolford. It was a lot noisier in Soldier Field last week. Of course, the crowd was trying to harass the Giant offense. Here the crowd will be quiet for the Viking offense.
There you see Carrier flashing the sign. Second down and 10 on the 38-yard line. Here is Evans, finds a burst up the middle. And the second-year running back out of Clark College in Atlanta. That's a Division II school. He was an 11th round draft pick and then quit school and joined the Marines. Gains 5.
We talked about McDaniel and blocking from the fullback position, and what a great athlete he is. Watch him right here, number 64, come over here and trap Alonzo Spellman. Just in the nick of time, allows Evans to get up the field for a nice gain.
Mentioned the sound of the Metrodome. Mike Ditka was much harsher on this place, called it the Roller Dome or the Barn. Not Wanstead, third down and 5. Chase from the pocket is McMahon, and the pass is caught by Anthony Carter, just short of a first down by a yard. Maurice Douglas, the nickelback, defending on the far sideline.
Well, decision time again for Denny Green, and no question he's going to go for it on fourth down. This time it's going to be Barry Word into the game. Take a look at the Bears secondary and how they keep Anthony Carter from picking up enough yards for the first down. McMahon was looking elsewhere, came to Carter as the outlet receiver, and you see AC looking down, wishing he had gotten another yard.
That's the 4th catch of the game for Anthony Carter, and Barry Word is back in the lineup. 4th down and 2 yards, and Word up the middle won't get it as the Bears stuff the Vikings on 4th down.
Well, what an incredibly bad call by Denny Green and his Viking staff. He came in with 3 wide receivers in a passing formation and not putting McDaniel in the backfield where they've had so much success. Tried to go right up the middle against the refrigerator Perry, and again the fridge stops him cold. Interesting choice of play calling by Denny Green and his staff.
Well, I think when it's all said and done, Jim McMahon won't write my epitaph. And I would imagine that we'll just see who writes his.
I'm going to write my own epitaph. It's probably going to say, "What are you looking at?"
2 former residents of Soldier Field.
Yeah, it's just not quite the same, is it?
No, and the new man in town, Dave Wanstead, who's trying to pick up his first victory as a head coach. Never before a head coach on any level before taking over the Chicago Bears for Mike Ditka. It's interesting, Dan, that Jim Harbaugh's gotten all the heat in Chicago so far, and Wanstead has avoided a lot of that.
Well, you got to pick on one or the other, the head coach or the quarterback. A little honeymoon period for Wanstead, maybe.
First down on the 30, and the give is to Neil Anderson, who's had an outstanding day rushing for the Bears in his first start, picks up 4 yards.
Boy, both defenses are playing awfully well this second half. The Viking defense has limited the Bears to just 6 offensive plays. The Bears have kept the Vikings from moving, even though the Vikings have had real good field position.
On the 34-yard line, second down and 6. Now Anderson goes in motion to the left. And the whistle blows, and we may have an illegal procedure call against Chicago. Green Bay leading Philadelphia 17-7. Mark Rippon has a sprained right ligament. That's the word from Washington. He'll have an MRI tomorrow. And Kerry Conklin is in.
False start in the center of the offense. 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
The amazing thing is here we've played almost 3 full quarters in this game, and we haven't had an offsides against Minnesota. Their defensive line is famous for it. In fact, that's only 5 penalties today, and that's not right for an NFC Central game.
Could change in a hurry. 6:15 remaining in the third quarter. Second down and 11. Harbaugh has some time, and his pass is caught by the tight end and out to the 42-yard line. Dante Whitaker, formerly with the Miami Dolphins, a 14-yard reception and good touch shown by Harbaugh on a first down for the Bears.
That's Harbaugh's best pass of the day, and one thing about Jim is people accuse him of throwing fastballs all the time. He showed excellent touch as he just lofted that ball perfectly over Jenkins' head to his tight end Whitaker.
You've talked about ex-quarterbacks. McMahon, formerly with the Bears. Wade Wilson, the former Viking quarterback, has thrown 3 touchdown passes today for the New Orleans Saints. First down on the 44. Robert Green is in the game and running back, and he is thrown for a loss of about 2.5 on his first attempt. The former Washington Redskin, a 3-yard loss, and Chris Dolman in on the play.
Bears have run a few draws today, to say the least. And you know, this veteran group, watch Dolman right here come right in the middle looking for that draw play. And he just stones Hayward in the backfield, surprised Ironhead, and made the tackle.
And the first tackle of the game for Dolman. Neil Anderson checks back in on 2nd down and 13. And the quick pitch to Dante Whitaker, and Whitaker off the tight end makes the reception, good for 7 yards. Cornerback Audrey McMillan, who tied for the NFL with 8 interceptions last year, tied for the league lead.
Vikings doing a lot better job this week with the time of possession. Last week against the Raiders, it seemed like they never had the ball. In fact, they barely had it for 20 minutes out of a 60-minute game.
And they have extended their time of possession edge from what it was at halftime. 3rd down and 6 on the Bear 48. 7-3 Chicago. Harbaugh running up the middle is stopped from behind, and a big play to prevent the first down by John Randall, who also has one of the 2 Minnesota sacks today. It is 4th down, and the Bears apparently on 4th down and 2 will copy the Vikings, who were 1 for 2 in 4th down conversions the last time they had the ball.
Well, they have their answer to Randall McDaniel. It's going to be number 71, James Big Cat Williams. Harbaugh calls timeout, but Williams will line up as a tight end.
3:47 showing on the clock here in the 3rd.
After talking with special teams coach Dan Abramowitz, Wanstead has changed his mind, sent the punting team out. And I think that's a good decision. He has a lead. Gardocki can pin the Vikings deep in their own end. And remember, Wanstead is a defensive coach, and he feels that his defense is good enough to keep his team close. And it's good enough today to have given him this 4-point lead.
Gardocki will kick, and Eric Guilford, the rookie free agent from Arizona State, on the receiving end. Fair catch called for by Guilford inside the 15-yard line. So the Vikings will have a long way to go following that 30-yard kick by Gardocki. We have not had any scoring thus far in the 3rd quarter of a 7-3 game with the Bears leading. Let's check the baseball. Next week, CBS Sports will have some pennant race action. Coverage begins at 2:30 Eastern with Baseball 93, followed at 3 o'clock by the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees, or the New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves. Check your local listings for the game in your area. First down on the 13 for Minnesota. Roger Craig is in at running back. And Barry Word, the second back through. What a game Barry Word has played. Obtained from Kansas City in a gain of 12 yards.
Well, he got that 12-yard gain because of Randall McDaniel here, number 64, as he crushes Jones, pushes him to the outside. And then Word just steps through a couple of arm tackles and punishes those little defensive backs.
McDaniel in his 6th season leading the charge. First down from the 25-yard line. Here's Barry Word again. Word, that's his 20th carry of the game, and he has gained 88 yards. And Tell you, Terry Allen went out with the season-ending knee injury, and it looks as if the Vikings have found a replacement in the backfield. Last week, 58 rushing yards against the Raiders, and they've almost doubled that number today. And we still have another quarter plus remaining. 2nd down and 7. And here's a fake end around, and the screen pass to Word. And Word dives forward for the 1st down. He is doing everything in the backfield, and as Dan mentioned, smart enough to pick up the playbook in a hurry, and a pickup of 10 with Joe Kane making the stop.
And that's not one of the normal plays in the playbook. He said, hey, coach, I need a little blow here. Watch the fake reverse here to Chris Carter. And now watch number 72, Scott Adams, as he gets another excellent block right there. Opens the big hole for Word inside. And it's a 1st down for Minnesota. Adams has been very impressive at that right guard position.
1st down on the 38-yard line. Charles Evans in at running back. He'll get to about the 40-yard line and a pickup of 2. Word, by the way, has not only rushed for 88 yards, but he has caught 4 passes today, which is the best he's ever done in a game. Good for 31 yards.
But you have to worry about his stamina. Has not played very much at all in the preseason when he was with Kansas City, and has just been here. And it's a difference between getting in game shape and just getting in shape. Word is getting on the job training this afternoon.
Vikings need a win, as the Bears do. 2nd down and 8. On the rollout, the pass is caught by Anthony Carter. He's got a 1st down for the Vikings, short of midfield. Anthony Blaylock, former San Diego Charger, knocked him out of bounds.
Another good use of the moving pocket by the Vikings that time. McMahon just rolling out and staying away from that pressure.
Carter has caught 5 passes from Jim McMahon today. Down to 40 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. It's a 1st down on the Minnesota 49. Here is Charles Evans. He gets a few, and Evans is spelling Barry Word a lot more, of course, now than he did in the 2nd quarter. And we're winding down to less than a half a minute.
Evans is a powerful runner as well as Barry Word is. He ran through an arm tackle of William Perry that time and made a nice gain.
5 yards for Evans, and that will be the last play of the 3rd quarter. So no scoring in this 3rd quarter, but Barry Word continues to impress in his debut in a Minnesota uniform. And that's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score: the Chicago Bears 7 and the Minnesota Vikings 3. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The savvy veteran Ming the Merciless checking out Mad Mac here on the sidelines, going over, trying to eavesdrop on what McMahon and the Vikings are going to do to start this 4th quarter.
Along with Dan Fouts, I'm Dick Stockton. The official, he had gotten out of the way, probably would have gone right up to the huddle. 2nd down and 5 for Jim McMahon. And his pass is caught by Chris Carter. And that will bring up 3rd and short. Dante Jones, who's playing middle linebacker, replacing Mike Singletary, if you can use the word replace, making the tackle.
Jones really came up on Carter and hit him pretty good and ripped the ball away. The officials said that Carter was down. Interesting with McMahon in that eye shield, though. He has to look under it to get the signals from the sidelines.
3rd down and 2. Two wide receivers and Charles Evans. Man up the middle. Steve Jordan with the catch. He has been more of a receiving than blocking tight end, obviously, in his career, but Jordan with a big 7-yard reception and a 1st down.
He's made a lot of big plays today with his blocking, pass blocking, run blocking, but this play, the conversion on 3rd down, may prove to be the biggest play. He had to fight to get away from the linebacker. The line had to give McMahon enough time to find him, and they convert.
Well, the only points for the Vikings last week was a touchdown in the final couple of minutes against the Raiders. Still looking for a touchdown, trailing 7-3. First down on the Bear 37. Here is Anthony Carter. And Carter can't get away from Sean Gale. And a short gain that time of 4 yards.
But you can really tell the concerns the Vikings have in protecting McMahon. They're going to a lot of different types of drop back passes, a lot of 3-step drops, 5-step drops, quick things, and a lot of moving pockets. And that's had a big effect on the way they've been able to move the ball. The Bears are playing it very conservatively in their secondary, allowing McMahon to complete a lot of these short passes.
Carter, Anthony Carter, has been the chief target for Jim McMahon today. Second down and 6. Bears show blitz, and Barry Word breaks one tackle and fires forward to the 30-yard line, perhaps the 31, where Richard Dent making the tackle.
He's going to run right through this arm tackle of Dent. Dent's going to drag him down from behind. Here's Dent. Watch the blitz come on the outside, but watch Barry Word, who doesn't have any blocking on this side of the field, give Dent the cold shoulder and drag him for a couple of yards.
That was a fine play by Word, because Dent would have had Barry Word for a loss of a couple. Instead, it is 3rd down and 4. Vikings converted their last 3rd down. McMahon pulled down back to the 40 by Richard Dent. Fooled Dent once, but not twice, and for Richard Dent, his 2nd sack of the game. And for the 2nd straight week, the Bears have gotten to the opposition quarterback 4 times.
And it's when you make sacks that are important. Dent, number 95, working against Everett Lindsey, will push Lindsey all the way back to McMahon and then reach over Lindsey to grab McMahon and drag him down with one hand. 2nd sack of the day, 115 now in his career.
And a key sack, as you mentioned, the timing, it knocked them out of field goal range, and now the Vikings have to kick. Newsom's punt still bouncing, and I think the Vikings downed it inside the goal line, and they did. Maybe the 1-yard line, and Ron Carpenter down the ball. A free agent, a rookie from Miami of Ohio, will have a lot of handshakes coming up.
Good patience by Carpenter here, chasing this one down, making sure his feet don't go across that goal line, and pinning the Bears back 99 yards from the end zone.
Barry Word having a tremendous debut for the Vikings. Neil Anderson has been the top rusher for the Bears. Looking at the time of possession and everything else about this game, the Minnesota Vikings have done everything right in this game, Dan, except score a touchdown and have the lead against the Bears.
And they're one of the best teams at making safeties, and the Bears are as close to a safety right here as they could get. But your point about Dent's sack on McMahon, that's really key, because it did take Rivez out of his range, and Rivez has pretty good range. He has a career-long 52-yarder, but now the crowd gets into it.
Neil Anderson dives for a couple. Gain of 2. That's not getting him out of big-time trouble yet.
The one thing that Harbaugh will be telling both Anderson and Hayward, now they're going to bring in Bob Christian in the Rhino package. Anderson will go out, but you want to wrap this ball up and don't struggle for extra yardage. Possession is key here. Keep both hands on the ball and get down when you get contact. Can't give up the ball here.
Christian and Hayward in the I formation. 2nd down and 8. And it's going to be a pass on a rollout, and the pass to Dante Whitaker, incomplete. He's out of bounds when he made the catch. Whitaker was out of bounds, defended by Carl Lee and the safety Vincey Glenn, and that'll bring up 3rd and 8.
Great job by Harbaugh on the fake, and then sprinting to the outside, and he threw a great pass, but Whitaker, in his inexperience, not knowing where the sideline was and when to get that left foot down, he got it down, but right on the chalk mark. Good call by the officials.
And now the crowd should really pick up its tempo with 3rd down and 8. for Harbaugh.
A more experienced receiver would have made the catch and got both feet in.
Harbaugh in his end zone has to hurry, and the pass is incomplete. A big rush from John Randall inside forced Harbaugh to get rid of it in a hurry.
John Randall doing the imitation of a runaway train. Going to smash into Harbaugh, not give him any chance at all. Beautiful job of getting by Vernon Smith by John Randall. Forced that incompletion.
You like 13 yards on the punt formation, and they get it off to Guilford. Gardocki. Guilford looking to get into Bear territory, and he does. So once again, and it's like a broken record today, the Minnesota Vikings will have good field position. They've had it that way since the first quarter after the 48-yard kick by Gardocki. 10:32 remaining in the fourth quarter.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by O'Doul's from Anheuser-Busch Premium Beer Taste without the alcohol. The American Express card. Don't leave home without it. Kodak Gold Film. Why trust your moments to anything less? And by the Principal Financial Group, the financial company that gives you an edge.
Here in Minneapolis and indoors in the Metrodome, a defensive battle with 10:32 remaining in the fourth quarter. Vikings have a first down on the Bear 46, their best starting field position of the game. And there's a deep pass. Anthony Carter was double covered by Carrier and Wolford. They weren't going to let AC, who's been the big receiver, get loose.
Well, both AC and CC, Anthony Carter and Chris Carter, are the main weapons for this offense. So the Bears on defense are going to double cover them. That time McMahon tried the out and up move to Anthony Carter, but the safety came over and it turned into a double coverage, and he had to throw it away.
There's Chris Carter, who had 7 receptions in the opening game last week at LA. So it's 2nd and 10. Fake a draw play, and on the screen, here's Barry Word. Here's Word inside the 30-yard line. Sean Gale will wrestle him out of bounds after a huge gain. 27 yards for Barry Word. Viking fans are wondering where he's been.
The key block on, as it is so many times with a screen pass, is the block of the center. Adam Shriver, number 60, comes out and wipes out Cox, and now Word has more speed than the Bears realize. Steps through a tackle, takes it all the way inside the 20. Nice job by the center, Adam Shriver.
5 catches for 58 yards for Barry Word. First down on the 19. McMahon. And that pass is caught by Steve Jordan, the tight end. A gain of 5 yards to the 14-yard line with 9:45 remaining in the fourth quarter. The Bears leading the Vikings 7-3.
Yeah, Jordan has had to block and clear guys out of the way. Finally gets to catch the ball, and 2 guys drill him.
So Darth Vader to the line again. 2nd down and 5. Here's Charles Evans. Not much up the middle. Got to credit the Bears defense, because they have been on the short end of the field position since the first quarter of this game.
You know, McMahon has had some problems with Evans. On this play, he turns around and watch Jim make sure that Evans is going the right way. He double clutched on the handoff and made sure he gave Evans lots of room.
19 of the last 25 Viking plays have been in Bears territory. 3rd down and 2. The ball is at the 11. And let's see whether Lindsey had drawn Dent offside, and Lindsey should be called for a legal procedure. We'll see if he's the one.
False start by the offense, number 64. 5-yard penalty. It remains 3rd down.
McDaniel, the left guard.
A critical mistake by McDaniel as he picked his hand up. again, it's a third down situation. Watch McDaniel right here, number 64, coming over on pass protection, about 2 counts too early. But that was a 3rd and about 2 to go. Now it's 3rd and 7.
And back on the 16-yard line. Bears defense has been on the field a great deal in this game. McMahon rolling out, fires to the end zone, and he's got Chris Carter wide open for the touchdown. Somebody must have missed an assignment. Nobody within 10 yards of Carter. And the Vikings score and take the lead.
Again, it's a mix-up in the Bears secondary, Dick. As you said, confusion as to who was responsible for Carter. Mark Carrier came over late. Carter just found a huge hole in the back of the end zone. McMahon had time to get it to him.
First touchdown passing for the Vikings this year, and Fuad Revez adds the extra point. And with 8:17 remaining in the 4th quarter, Minnesota takes the lead for the first time today.
You see Carter talking about the move he made. The protection is good. McMahon rolls away from the pressure, and now you'll never ever see a guy more wide open than Chris Carter was for that touchdown.
And they got the painted faces going full blast now at the Dome.
Looked like the same type of problems 2 weeks in a row for Wanstead. It appeared that his secondary was, half of it was playing man-to-man, and the other half was playing zone coverage.
Here's the kickoff by Revez. And it's Terry Obi at the 1 returning for the Bears. Obi up the middle and very nearly broke it. Terrific speed and a fine kickoff return of 35 yards.
At the top of the screen, we're going to see what looks like man-to-man coverage here, but this looks like zone coverage here. That's Marcus Paul on Carter in the slot, and Blaylock outside on Ismail. But as the play unfolds, watch Douglas go into zone coverage, and now in the back of the end zone, Carter runs free and gets the end zone for the touchdown.
First down on the 36, so now pressure is on Harbaugh, literally, and he goes down. That is the 3rd sack of the game, and John Randall has 2 of them. He has had an outstanding game up front. When you look at Dolman and Thomas, Randall has been the star up front, and a loss of 7 yards for Harbaugh.
He had 11 sacks all of last year, and this is not the situation the Bears want to be in. They are not a passing team. They're working with a new system with Ron Turner putting in that West Coast San Francisco offense. And you're going against a fierce pass rush of the Vikings.
7 sacks in the game. 2nd down and 17. Harbaugh getting rushed by Dolman, and he swings it out to Neil Anderson. And Anderson is tackled at the 33. Gain of 4 yards by Henry Thomas. Bears have only 1 first down this half and only 5 in the entire game.
Denny Green telling us yesterday that his team has had problems with big physical football teams, but this is where his team will thrive, forcing the offense into long yardage situations so he can turn loose those guys up front, Dolman, Randall, Thomas, and Barker.
And exactly what Tony Dungy's defensive crew wants to do, force Harbaugh to throw. 3rd and 13. And wide open. He is driven back, but he won't get the first down. He'll be several yards short. Carlos Jennings, the strong side linebacker, a gain of 10, but that won't be enough for Chicago.
Dungy told us that in order to beat the Bears, you have to force Harbaugh into mistakes. And his players, the type of players that he looks for, are athletes who are capable of picking up a fumble, making an interception, and then taking it in for the score.
Gardocki in to kick, and Eric Guilford to return for the Vikings with 6 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Another fine high kick, forcing Guilford to call for the fair catch at the 25. Well, coming up after the game will be the finals of the men's competition in the U.S. Open. Pete Sampras heavily favored to beat Cedric Pioline. Sampras seeded number 2, Pioline 15. I know you've already picked Sampras going out on a limb.
And I'm still waiting for your pick.
Well, I'm not dumb. I had Connors and McEnroe. I go with Sampras too, Dan. So a little friendly wager here. So here's McMahon, who in limited action had only 1 touchdown pass last year with the Philadelphia Eagles. Had his first moments ago. First down on the 26. Here is Evans for a couple of yards, and now the Vikings will be content to keep the ball on the ground and use the clock as much as possible.
And you wonder how effective they'll be doing that. They started this series with Evans and not Barry Word. So Green may be concerned with Word's conditioning. He's had a busy day. The clock is now the important thing for Minnesota and the Bears. Bears have 2 timeouts remaining, and they would be wise to start using them if in fact they can keep Minnesota from making any yards on this next play.
Do have 5:48 remaining. Second down and 8. Jordan goes in motion, and again Evans trying to follow the blocking is stopped cold by Dante Jones. So plenty of time. No need yet to call the timeout, but a loss of 1 yard.
You talked about Dante Jones having to fill some big shoes and replacing Mike Singletary. Number 53 does a pretty good Singletary imitation here. Watch him just fly out of the middle here and keep Evans right on the line of scrimmage. Big tackle by Dante Jones.
3rd and 9. Mentioned that Jack Del Rio, the middle linebacker, had 15 tackles for the Vikings. Jones had 15 against the Giants last week. 3rd down and 9. 3 wide receivers, and the pass to Chris Carter will be shy of the first down by about 4 yards. So the Bears will get another chance as we wind down to 4.5 minutes remaining. Tackle made by Wolford and McMichael.
I always hated pass plays on 3rd down, in 3rd down situations that weren't designed for when the receiver caught the ball. He already had enough yardage to make the first down. So difficult with the quality of athletes playing defense now for a receiver or a running back to catch a short pass and have to run for the necessary yardage.
Newsome will be kicking for the Vikings, and Terry Obie, who's been returning punts all day. Newsome with another fine kick. Obie from the 16-yard line. Down he goes. Great coverage by the Minnesota Vikings special teams. A 53-yard kick by Newsome. And right now, let's check in with Greg Gumbel in our New York studios. Greg?
All right, Dick, you saw the score. Philadelphia and the Packers are now tied at 17. Here's how it happened. Randall Cunningham, 3rd and 10 on the rollout, and launches a 40-yard bomb to Victor Bailey in the end zone. The extra point tied at 17-17, 3:15 to play at Lambeau Field, Dick.
Anytime you have Randall Cunningham, he can make the big plays, and the Eagles have made him to get back in this game. Let's see if the Bears can get back here with 3:56 to go and a first down. On the 23, and the give is to Neil Anderson. Not much there.
Well, 2/3 of this Minnesota football team has played excellent football today. The defense and the special teams. Newsome's had a big day with some real long, high punts, and it's been a matter of field position. And now Del Rio and gang has got the Bears right where they want them.
That's young Everett Lindsey, the left tackle, who'll go out for more work soon. 2nd down and 11. Harbaugh's pass. It's caught, and it should be a first down to Wendell Davis. Davis did not start today, neither did Curtis Conway, because they missed the team plane yesterday. But Davis is good for 14 yards. Del Rio defending.
Bears have to start thinking about this clock and how little time is remaining in this game. They do have two timeouts to use, but they ought to be in a little bit more of a hurry. taking their time getting these plays called. They still have a long way to go.
They bring in Terry Obi as another wide receiver to the top of your screen. 1st and 10 on the 36. Waddle is in motion. Harbaugh gets pressure and gets it off to Waddle. Makes a fine catch, and he is tackled and short of a first down by 3 yards, making the stop Vincey Glenn and Todd Scott.
Harbaugh wants to get to the line of scrimmage and get a playoff before the clock goes down to the 2-minute warning, so they will go to their hurry-up offense right now.
Hayward is the only running back in. 3 wide receivers, 2nd down and 3. Harbaugh has some room to run, and Hayward for a while was up in front of him. It's good for the first down. Del Rio on the stop picks up 5, and we're going to get the 2-minute warning right here. So the Bears are putting some pressure on near midfield. Our 2-minute warning here at the Metrodome. Dan and I will be back. Bears kicker Kevin Butler just in case, and as Dave Wanstead told us yesterday, Dan, he's been encouraged by the fact that every game, including preseason, has come down to the 2-minute warning, so the club has been in every test so far.
That's a real good sign, especially for a new system and a new program that Wanstead has. The real ace in the hole, though, is he's got a very, very good field goal kicker in Butthead Butler.
1st and 10 at the Bear 48. They've been over midfield only twice this half. 2 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. Harbaugh's pass trying to lead Christian a bit too much. It's incomplete. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League, and the CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of CBS, Minnesota Vikings, and the National Football League is prohibited. There's Wendell Davis. Dante Whitaker on the sideline, the tight end. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Quarterback draw, it appeared, and Harbaugh got very little, although he did edge his way into Viking territory where Del Rio was there. Gained only 2 yards.
Del Rio stays put to begin with, looking for the quarterback draw, and then he's going to lay on Harbaugh and keep him from getting up off the ground. Watch 55 make the tackle, and now he's going to go into the full body slam and hold him down.
Neil Anderson is split out to the left on 3rd and 7, and the pass is nearly intercepted. And is it picked off? Yes, it is. It is intercepted. Audrey McMillan.
Now McMillan should go over and give half of that football to Chris Dolman, because Dolman was in Harbaugh's face, and Harbaugh getting rid of it, trying to get it out of bounds, threw it up for grabs, and McMillan made a wonderful catch along the sidelines. Watch Dolman from the left side. He kisses the quarterback, and now McMillan lays out, catches the back end of the ball, and may have won the game for his side.
16th career interception by Audrey McMillan. The frustration on the face of Jim Harbaugh, and the only turnover by the Bears, but it could not have come at a worse time. McMillan led the NFC, tied for the NFL lead a year ago, and with 1:23 remaining, the Vikings leading 10-7. Here's Barry Word. The Viking defense, if they go on and win, should get a game ball, but so should Barry Word with what he's done today. Jim McMahon said to you in the NFL Today pregame show, there's only one man I want to beat out there today, and that is the man in the boot. That's Mike McCaskey.
And McCaskey not looking real happy about things, and you know, McMahon had a decent day. His team will come out on top. And you talked about Barry Word and his contribution. That's got to give the Viking fans a lot more hope.
Look at those numbers. 23 of 29, 171 yards, and a touchdown pass. No interceptions.
A real sweet victory for McMahon. You know, deep down inside, he wishes that he was still a Chicago Bear. I think when he retires and people think back on his career, they will always think of him as a Chicago Bear.
2nd and 6 on the 35-yard line. The Bears still have 1 timeout remaining. Barry Word needs 3 yards for 100. And Kane makes the tackle. And while the Bears have called their last timeout, while McMahon downplayed the rivalry this week, I think he had to, because that's all anyone asked him about. You know, he's got to feel as good as possible after last week's setback to win this one.
Not only that, but this is his first win for the Vikings. A lot of people question why the Vikings went out and got McMahon. Denny Green told us for a couple of reasons. He's a proven winner in this league, and he has experience not only in the NFC, but of course in this division, the Central Division. Talking about Barry Word and the fact he only needs 3 yards, I'm sure he doesn't realize that. Showing the type of team player that he is, could have bounced that one outside and maybe got those 3 yards, maybe have gotten a few more, but he also might have got pushed out of bounds and stopped the clock. Word, using his head, kept it inside, kept the clock running, and forced the Bears to use their final timeout.
And you'd have to say that the addition of Word and his performance today really kept a lot of the heat off of Jim McMahon, so McMahon may be the most grateful of anybody. 1:10 remaining. It'll be 3rd down and 6 from the 35-yard line. So the Bears are out of timeouts. Word is tackled from behind at the 35-yard line by Chris Zorich.
Now, the Bears blocked a punt last week for a touchdown, and the Vikings know that. The Bears are going to have to go after Newsome here, but the real plus that the Vikings have is they have one of the best punt snappers in football in Mike Morris. And knowing that, Abramowitz didn't think, in talking to him yesterday, that they had much of a chance of blocking one of Newsome's punts. But I think he's forced to go after him now. This would be a real long punt return by Obi. They have a better chance of forcing a bad snap and blocking, but the Vikings are very solid in that category.
Byron Baker was the Chicago Bear who came in and blocked a punt and went in for a touchdown against the Giants. Newsome, as you see, the NFC's top punter after 1 week.
He didn't hurt his average any today either. 46.5-yard average.
So Dave Wanstead still looking for his first victory, and it appears that the Bears will drop their first 2 games of a season for the first time since 1982, and if there's any solace for Dave Wanstead, that was Mike Ditka's first year as head coach.
And I think if he looks at the positives of today, he's got to be happy with the way Neil Anderson played. A lot of question mark as to whether Anderson still has the burst, the moves, the speed. I think all those questions were answered today in the first half.
And still no complaints about the Bears defense. By and large, they played a terrific game when you consider they were on the field most of the game. Newsome will kick, and Terry Obi back. And Newsome gets off another beauty. Look at that. That's his best of the day. Inside the 5. And Obi is buried at the 15-yard line, and making the tackle was Fred Strickland. 62-yard kick by Harry Newsome. And once again, the Viking special teams on punts stands out.
Oh, to be a punter or a kicker and to be able to kick indoors.
Well, you're right. Butler, next to Soldier Field, this is his favorite place for kicking. But right now, Dennis Green's team 15 seconds away from evening their season's record at 1-1. Got to feel a lot better winning a divisional game after losing last week the way they did. First down on the 16, and Harbaugh goes down, fumble, and it's still retained by the Bears with 8 seconds remaining. It was Chris Dolman once again becoming a factor in the late stages, and that'll do it. Game is over. Jim McMahon has beaten his former team, and the Minnesota Vikings have won their 6th in a row against divisional foes. They go 1-1 on the year, while the Chicago Bears drop to 0-2, and both of these teams will have byes next week. before they resume action.
And when they do resume action, the Vikings will host the Packers, who have their hands full today with the Eagles. Good win for Denny Green, and another close loss for Dave Wanstead.
Roger Ruzek with a 31-yard leading 20-17 with 5 seconds left. So for Dan Fouts, this is Dick Stockton saying so long for Minneapolis. The final score, the Vikings 10 and the Bears 7.